Hey guys, this is Aaron from MMOs.com with a quick weekly news recap of all major MMO news and announcements for the week ending November 20th, 2017. This is episode number 122 of the recap, and the first bit of news this week is from Grinding Gear Games, and it's yet another big announcement for Path of Exile. The game is getting a new expansion titled War for the Atlas, and is slated to release on December 8th, 2017. Fall of the Oriath only launched 3 months ago and added a ton of new content to the game, so another new expansion so quickly is pretty awesome. War of the Atlas focused on adding new endgame content, whereas Fall of the Oriath, the previous expansion, kind of remade the entire game in the early and mid-game experience. The new expansion adds a new endgame boss called the Elder, 32 new maps, 2 new item types, 10 new skill gems, 50 new unique items, and more. Path of Exile still averages over 11,000 players on Steam alone, which makes it one of the most popular games on the platform. Next up, some unfortunate news from NCSoft regarding Master x Master. The unique hero swapping mobile will be shutting down for good on January 31st, 2018. It's sad to see the game shut down so quickly after launch, but to be honest, it was kind of expected. I personally loved the core gameplay in MXM, but the game had a bit of a weird identity crisis. Was it a PvE game or a traditional MOBA? And what was the deal with the different rarities for runes and nodes? Why did players have to go through tons of PvE to unlock heroes and get new rarer runes and nodes in the game? It made no sense. If they could just focus on the MOBA element, it could have been super successful. In fact, the 3v3 elements felt a lot like Battlefront, and it could have been just as successful if they focused on it. But nope, for now, rest in pepperoni, Master x Master. While on the topic of games shutting down, we have another game closure announcement this week. This time it's for Marvel Heroes from Gazillion. The reason behind the shutdown seems to be that Disney has ended their relationship with Gazillion, and since Disney owns the Marvel franchise, they control who can use it. The announcement shouldn't come as a big surprise for hardcore fans of the game, because there's been no news about the game for over a month now, and the game's official social media accounts were also pretty much silent for over a month. The game will be shutting down on December 31st, 2017. Arrested Pepperoni Marvel Heroes. Next up, while Marvel Heroes is dying, DC Universe Online released a new episode this week known as Earth 3 and introduces new content to the game that can be accessed by practically anyone. It has players team up with the Justice League to take down enemies and adds a new open world area to the game for both solo and group missions, as well as 2 new 8-player raids. Surprisingly, I'm pretty sure Marvel Heroes was more popular than DC Universe Online, but Marvel Heroes shut down first. DC Universe only averages about 468 players online on Steam at once, which isn't terrible, but it's not great either. Next, in a Founders Update posted earlier this month, Crowfall announced they'll be missing their 2017 soft launch window and will instead focus on launching sometime in 2018. And they even said that 2018 is definitely going to be when the game is going to launch. The official update was quite candid, as they did actually mention that they initially hoped to launch back in December 2016, so even if they hit their revised 2018 update, they'll be launching well over a year late. I'm personally excited to try Crowfall, but it's a game that I don't want to jump into too early, and I didn't really play any of the beta builds. I'm waiting for the game to come out, because I feel like if I play it too much and trying out the alphas, I'll get burnt out before the game even launches. But I am looking forward to it. Here's hoping Crowfall launches in the first half of 2018 rather than the second half. Next up, Final Fantasy XIV shows off a brand new PvP mode called Rival Wings, which is scheduled to launch with its update 4.15, which launches on November 21st, which is actually tomorrow. Rival Wings is a mobile-like PvP game mode for Final Fantasy where players defend and push towers with NPCs running down lanes. Personally, I've never been a fan of PvP in Final Fantasy XIV, and I've actually never seen an MMORPG implement a mobile-like game mode successfully before. We'll see how Final Fantasy does, but I'm sure a lot of other games have tried this, and I remember it generally sucking, but hopefully it works out well here. We'll have to wait and see. Next, a bit of a we did it Reddit kind of news story. Following a ton of backlash, EA temporarily turned off all in-game microtransactions for Battlefront 2. This follows a huge shitstorm of players complaining about how bad the microtransactions were in Battlefront 2. While it kind of does show the power of players complaining and voicing their concerns, I do have a feeling that this is just a temporary move, and once people forget about all this backlash, they're going to turn it all back on again with minimal changes. But we'll have to wait and see. It still created a lot of interesting internet drama, and hopefully it does send a message to developers that you can't go too ham on microtransactions. Moving right along, we have a lot of G-Star 2017 news, but first of all, we did see some new gameplay footage for Ascent Infinite Realm, the new game being developed by Bluehole and being published by Kakao Games here in the West. No new information on when the game is going to be launching, but we do know it will launch in English eventually, because they do have a publishing partner already here for the West, which is again Kakao Games. You can see some gameplay in the background. Unfortunately, these aren't really official trailers, just videos that people took while at the G-Star event in Korea, so you can see some actual gameplay. And the fact that the game was actually playable to the public at G-Star shows that the game is actually making progress towards release. And I am pretty hyped for it, because there haven't really been too many big budget PC and MMORPG releases in recent years, besides of course a handful of games like Black Desert and whatnot, but it's always cool to see a big budget legit game launching. And yeah, hopefully we'll see this one in the West relatively soon. Next, it's some additional G-Star 2017 news. NCSoft showed off some Blade and the Soul Revolution gameplay, which remember is a different title than Blade and the Soul 2. Visually, the game looks phenomenal, and it looks like it's an actual real open world game as well. I mean, the video is definitely pretty hype, but until I can get my hands on it and see for myself, I'm not going to get too excited for it. I personally really like the PC Blade and Soul, so if they can capture that on mobile without turning it into an auto-playing disaster, it'll be pretty neat. And based on what we're seeing right now in gameplay, it actually looks a lot like the PC game. And they actually have the same team that worked on the PC version of the game working on Blade and Soul R, so it could could potentially be really good, but of course, we'll have to wait and see. And speaking of mobile game hype, Black Desert Mobile just released a new gameplay trailer showing off gameplay for 5 of the game's basic classes, which will be available at launch. Based on the character creation video we saw last week and the gameplay trailer that we're seeing right now, this one definitely seems interesting, at least more so than a lot of other mobile games we've seen. But as I said about Blade and the Soul R, we'll have to wait and see because these trailers always look way more hype than the game actually is. But again, it looks pretty awesome and hopefully it lives up to this hype. Unfortunately, we have no new information on when this game will be coming out though, just this new trailer. Next up, more G-Star 2017 news. Tera M, the mobile version of Tera, showed off some new 3v3 PvP gameplay, which is actually taking place in real time and looked pretty interesting given the action-oriented combat. Tera M is set to release in 2 weeks in South Korea, and given Tera's popularity here in the West, I expect that we'll be getting an English version of Tera M sometime in 2018, but that, of course, is not official, just my speculation. We actually had a lot of mobile game news over at G-Star. Up next is a new gameplay video for Caravan Stories, a Japanese-developed upcoming mobile anime MMORPG, which is actually be available for both PC and mobile with cross-platform play. While we have no word on an official release date just yet, the game already has undergone a round of closed beta testing. And for those curious about the core gameplay, it's apparently a monster collecting game, and it does have unfortunately a lot of autoplay according to reports from people that did play the game's closed beta test. Unfortunately, no new real information on when the game is coming out, just this new gameplay video that you're seeing in the background. Unfortunately, G-Star 2017 is not all about mobile game news. KOG Games released a video showing off their latest anime MMORPG on the PC called KurtzPel, which actually looks beautiful. It's a PvP-based action game from the makers of Elsword and Grand Chase. I absolutely love the crisp anime aesthetic that you see in the background, and look forward to giving this one a try. Unfortunately, there is no release date for this one just yet, but visually it kind of does remind me of Peria Chronicles, which unfortunately was not shown off at G-Star, so rip Peria Chronicles for now. And I don't think we've seen a new PC MMORPG from KOG Games since Elsword, so this could be pretty hype. And speaking of KOG Games, they did not show up at G-Star without their own mobile games, and they showed off some gameplay footage for both Elsword M and Grand Chase Mobile. Now, Elsword M is not the same game as El's Evolution, at least that's the way I understand it, because El's Evolution is already out here in the West, and Elsword M does look a bit different. But you can see the gameplay videos for both of these in the background. And yes, of course, no release date for these in the West. Though I do suspect that Elsword M will definitely make its way to the West, because Elsword on PC is still really popular in English, actually. Next up, probably the mobile game I'm personally most interested in. Mabinogi Mobile got a new teaser trailer at G-Star 2017 and looks super charming and cute. Mabinogi was a pretty revolutionary game on the PC because it was an MMORPG that wasn't just about the combat. It had a pretty great emphasis on social elements as well as crafting and other goodies rather than just the combat. And I'm kind of hoping it does the same kind of big change on mobile as well, because the core combat in mobile games is not really what I'm interested in. I mean, just look at the trailer in the background. It actually does look like a game I would love to try because, again, Mabinogi on PC was pretty revolutionary for its time. So if they can capture any of that magic on the PC on mobile, it could be really good. And, of course, we'll have to wait and see. Next, Netmarble showed off a new gameplay video for Icarus M, which is actually the mobile version of Riders of Icarus. The game is also powered by Unreal Engine 4, so it should have some pretty beautiful graphics. The game features real-time flying raids, boss battles, action combat, and tameable creatures, and more. As always, this trailer looks really cool, but I feel like they always end up looking way cooler than the actual gameplay is. And given all the mobile games we've seen shown off at G-Star 2017, it's obvious that all these Korean developers are focusing their efforts on mobile. Hopefully, they'll be pretty decent though. Lastly, on the mobile game front, Lineage 2 Revolution officially launched in the US and Europe this week, and it's a big game because it made over $170 million in 1 month in South Korea. When Netmarble first launched it over there, and they're banking on the fact that it'll do well here in the West too. Personally, I'm not a big fan. The game basically plays itself, and I'm not sure why I sound surprised when I said that, because most mobile games end up playing themselves anyway. It was a bit funny to watch Twitch this last week though, because there's been so many sponsored streams for Lineage 2 Revolution. All the big streamers were playing it, and obviously they were paid to do so. I wonder how much money Netmarble shelled out for that. A bit sad that Netmarble didn't offer MMOs.com any money for coverage. Rest in pepperoni, us. Moving right along, Dragon Nest North America released a new class, the Oracle Elder, as well as added a new dungeon system in their November update, which went live this last week. Dragon Nest is a bit of an oldie now, but it's still cool to see getting updates, and my rule of thumb is always, if you get a new class, it's a pretty damn big update. Dragon Nest used to be published by Nexon, but is now self-published by its developer, IdentitySoft. And if you never heard of this one, it's yet another one of those instance dungeons, persistent hub-style MMORPGs with action combat. Speaking of action MMORPGs adding new classes, the previously mentioned Miri character on Vindictus was officially announced and is launching on December 6th. Players who are at least level 20 are eligible to get a free Miri registration pack, which includes a level 90 weapon of rare quality, 50 mercenary potions, a 3000 AP capsule, 500% XP boost, and more. Vindictus is also a bit of an oldie now, as it launched back in 2010, but it still averages about 250 or so players online according to Steam charts, which isn't that much, but remember, that's only on Steam. I'm sure plenty more people play it over on Nexon's launcher. And again, that Miri character is launching on December 6th. Next up, Warframe's huge Plains of Eidolon update just went live on Xbox One and PS4 this last week. It's been live on PC for some time already, but console users can finally get their taste of the open world areas introduced in the new update. While we have no data on the game's console player base, Warframe remains one of the most popular games on Steam with nearly 65,000 concurrent players on average. And yes, that number has jumped quite a bit since Plains of Eidolon launch. In fact, it almost doubled since the Eidolon update. And what's remarkable is that player base number has not dropped off in the weeks since the update. So the game is doing pretty damn well. The next and last bit of news this week, and oh, don't worry, it's not a mobile one, is about Arpiel, the anime action MMORPG from We Made. Why the game has a colon in the middle of its name, the world will never know. But the game will be launching in Japan soon. This is notable because the game was only available in South Korea for some time. Perhaps the US will be next. I did a first look for this for the Korean version of the game through Nexon, and it's basically the same kind of a game as Closers or Soul Worker, as it has persistent hubs and instance dungeons. What I liked a lot about this one though is its buttery smooth gameplay and gorgeous anime graphics. And given the launch of Closers, Critica, and numerous other instance action MMORPGs in the West, perhaps Arpiel could make its way to the US next. But anyway guys, that's it for MMO news this week. I know we had a lot of mobile stuff this week to talk about. It's because G-Star 2017 happened and basically every developer is rushing to put out mobile games and we have to mention them. Next week should be a lot more regular MMO news. But anyway guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow for the podcast. Later guys.